guys, and welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I'm going to be talking about classic versus trendy bags. But before anything else, if you're new here, welcome, and if you're a returning subscriber, welcome back. If these are the kinds of videos that you like watching, I would appreciate it if you could hit that subscribe button down below and follow me on Instagram at TrishDLF. So this was a requested video by a subbie who was asking about classic or timeless bags versus trendy pieces. So I think what she was asking about was more along the lines of when do I think a trendy piece is worth spending on, or when do I think it has potential to become a classic bag. Because what she mentioned in the comments was that a lot of brands these days are pushing out so many different new designs and new bag styles. So with all the different items that they're pushing out there, it's kind of hard to gauge like when you should pull the trigger on a certain item that you're eyeing that's fairly new. So when it comes to those things, a lot of factors actually come into play, and so those are some of the things that I'm going to be discussing in this video. So honestly, if you follow this channel for a while now, you would know that I tend to stick to the classics, and so I rarely have any trendy pieces in my collection. If I did have trendy pieces, it was with me for only about like a year or two, and then I sold it right away because of resale value. My general ruling for myself is to get the classic bags down first, and then if you feel like you have the most basic bags of the classic designs, then you can venture into the trendy pieces. And I feel like that's also how I curate my clothes. So when it comes to clothes, I also made sure to have all the basic pieces first, like the typical denim jeans, a plain white shirt, a plain black top, and everything like that, but before I ventured into the more colorful and avant-garde pieces. So since I mentioned classics, I want to talk about the classic bags first and the classic designs before I talk about the trendy pieces. Because if you know the basics of a classic bag, then it'll be easier for you to understand how a trendy piece can eventually transition into becoming a classic bag in the future. So a classic bag for me is only really defined by three characteristics, and that's number one, history, number two, staying power, and number three, silhouette. So for number one, history, a bag is generally considered classic if it has a lot of history behind it. Same goes with like jewelry or watches. The more history the jewelry or the watch has, the more value it has. So for bags, examples of bags with rich history would be the Chanel classic flap bag, obviously worn by Coco Chanel, and also the Chanel reissue flap because that was the original bag that Coco Chanel designed. There was the Birkin, which was designed for Jane Birkin. There was the Louis Vuitton Speedy, which was worn by Audrey Hepburn a lot back in the day. And there's the Lady Dior that was carried a lot by Princess Diana. Next is staying power. So this just means like how long has this bag been in production, and this also goes hand in hand with history. So both history and staying power, that's more or less the same thing. So yeah, basically if this bag has already been around for decades and it's still well loved by people, then you know that that bag is a classic. And finally, the third criteria to make a classic bag is silhouette. So this means generally clean lines in bag designs and nothing too out of this world. Examples for bags like these would be the FENDI PEEKABOO and the Hermes Kelly bag. So for trendy bags, if it doesn't fall under any of these three categories, then it's considered a trendy bag. Trendy bags usually last from 3 to 5 years before they start losing their hype. But when do you know when you should bite the bullet on a trendy bag? So for me, if you already got the classics down, or at least the classics that you're interested in, the factors that I would consider when buying a trendy bag would first be if it makes my heart skip a beat. So when it comes to trendy bags, don't listen to what others say, but instead ask yourself how you really feel. Everyone has their own preferences, and what's beautiful to you may not be beautiful to others. Art, design, and style is very subjective, so we all have different opinions, and something that's very beautiful and unique to you may not be everyone's cup of tea. At the end of the day, it's what you feel that matters because you're the one who's going to be using that bag and not other people. I've posted a lot of polls on my Instagram stories in the past where I would ask my friends if they think a certain item that I'm thinking of getting is nice. So I'd be like yay or nay, and they would vote, because I would see this item and it would look so pretty, and like I'd always be in a dilemma if it's actually nice or if it's just like a spur of the moment thing. And it's so funny because I feel like every single time that I posted something on there, everyone was always like nay. So for some reason, a lot of people actually don't agree with my design preferences. I never ended up buying any of those stuff actually, but I thought they were really pretty cool. There were a lot of really unique pieces that I've seen on Instagram and in stores that I feel like I would have gotten. But yeah, a lot of them were trendy, but they were beautiful in my eyes. But apparently they weren't to other people. So yeah, it's just a matter of perspective. It's just a matter of taste. We all have different tastes. And imagine if it's a design or it's a bag that you really like, but other people don't. Like at the end of the day, if it's something that you really love the design of, like what does it matter what other people think if they see you wearing that bag? Like if it's a trendy bag, if it's a trendy out of this world bag that you know will make you happy, then go for it. If it's a bag that will give you butterflies every time you wear it, no matter how ugly it seems to other people, but to you it's the most beautiful bag in the world, what does it matter, right? So it's really a matter of if when you see the bag it gives you butterflies, then it's probably a trendy piece that you may consider spending your money on. Number 2 criteria is functionality. So you can consider getting a trendy bag if it's a bag that you think will fit your lifestyle. For example, if you don't like to travel and you work in the corporate world, then would you buy a Dior book tote? With how bulky it is and all its logos, do you think that it's something that you'd actually wear to work, especially in corporate? Like even if you find the book tote really beautiful, you have to ask yourself, like, am I actually going to be able to use this? Especially if you're someone who doesn't really like to travel and you don't really like having a lot of stuff with you, then why would you get a book tote just because it's trending or it's beautiful or everyone on Instagram has it, right? So if it's a bag that you know you won't be able to actually use for its function because you don't travel or you work corporate where you always have to be in like business casual, smart casual, and you're basically like home for the rest of the time, like where would you bring it, right? So those are the things that you have to take into consideration. Inversely, an example would be the Louis Vuitton multi-pochette. Like if you're the type of person who brings everything and the kitchen sink with her whenever she goes out, then the multi-pochette bag is something that will not be functional at all for you. Especially now where you have to bring your mask, your face shield, all the alcohol, Lysol, and all those cleaning materials. Like if you're that type of girl who has to like have everything, if you're a Girl Scout and you just need all your belongings with you all the time, then getting a multi-pochette just because it's in will just get you frustrated, because every time that you have to go out you would have to downsize and you'd have to leave a lot of stuff behind, or you'd have to bring another bag just so it can accommodate all the other stuff that you need. So yeah, think about it, because sometimes as much as the bag is trending and it's all over Instagram and the brands are pushing it, sometimes you just really have to analyze it, and sometimes it's just not for you. So before you actually buy the bag and regretting it later on down the line, make sure you think about it really hard first if it's something that would be fit for your lifestyle. And finally, for my last criteria of when to buy a trendy bag, it is time. So what I usually do when a trendy bag comes out is I wait for about a year and a half just to feel it out first and to see if I really like the bag. In this day and age of social media, I feel like a lot of influencers are so quick to push certain bag designs out to their audience. And so sometimes if a bag is just newly released, it seems like when you log on to social media, every single influencer has the bag and everyone's just pushing it. And actually even non-influencers already seem to have that bag. So it's like everyone has it, and it makes you think that you also want that bag. And it also makes you think that you also want that bag because of FOMO, fear of missing out. So when it comes to those things, my advice is just to wait it out, because you won't know how much you truly want an item until you wait. There are so many external influences that you really need time to dissect if you really want the trendy piece or not. Another reason that I like waiting is because sometimes the design houses would actually change the design a little bit. So some design houses still tend to continue tweaking some details from certain newly released bags right after their initial release date. So some examples would be the on-the-go tote. So I believe that the on-the-go tote, when they initially released, the strap, the long strap, it was still in their coated canvas. But now, the latest design is, it's already in a leather strap. So another example would be the Louis Vuitton puzzle bag. So for this bag, I believe that the initial designs, they had a thicker strap and they even had like a double D-ring at the bottom of the bag, whereas the ones that they produce now don't have those anymore. So when you think about it, these small details don't really matter because they're all still original bags anyway. They just tweak the designs a little bit. But for me, the thing is, if I want to potentially be able to resell in the future, then I would prefer that my bag is the most manufactured design, meaning it's the one that saturated the market the most. Because in the pre-loved market, obviously people prefer the latest design over the older ones. And so you might be able to get more value for your item if you sell it in the pre-loved market if the item that you have is the one with the latest design. One bag that newly released and is very, very hot right now is the Chanel 19, and I am telling you guys, personally, I feel like this bag is extremely trendy, and right now I don't exactly understand the hype about it yet. It's a beautiful bag, but right now it's just not my style, and I feel like it's too trendy for my lifestyle. At the end of the day, I feel like I would still pick a classic flap bag over the Chanel 19. So I feel like it's just really a trendy, hot piece right now that everyone is really getting. But if you are actually interested in this bag right now, I would really advise you to wait. It seems that a lot of people really like the bag, so for sure it'll be here until like 5 years at least. But I feel like wait a year and a half first, because people may be selling down the line eventually, and you'll only really be able to realize if it's the bag for you after you wait for some time. So if after a year and a half, and you still like the bag, then maybe you should go and get it. But right now, I'm really iffy about that Chanel 19, though a lot of people love it. So yeah, that's just my own opinion, but to each their own. So those were my tips on buying classic versus trendy bags. I hope you picked up a little something in this video, even if it's just like a tiny piece of advice. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, I would appreciate it if you could hit that like button down below to help the YouTube algorithm, and follow me on Instagram at TrishDLF. I'll see you guys soon in my next video. Bye!